It's time to do the Cavalry Investment Guide for all players in Rise of Kingdoms, starting from the earliest stages of the game all the way till the latest stages. And today, I will be giving you all the tips and tricks you need. I will talk about the best commanders to get, in which order you get them, which commanders you skip, which commanders you may focus. I'll give you whale pairs, free-to-play pairs. Basically, I will help you set up your account from KVK 1, even before KVK 1, up until you reach Season of Conquest to put you in the best place you possibly can be if you want to be a Cav main. I will also be giving you tips and tricks and civilizations, equipment, and all of the usual stuff. If you want to be a Cav main, you definitely should check out today's video. Let's start off with pre-KVK1, and you actually have access to a lot more commanders than most players for pre-KVK1, because you have access to Minamoto. Pre-KVK1, you have access to Minamoto and Kakao. Kakao I would skip for every player unless you're a Mega Whale. But Minamoto, for you low spending and even like medium spend, even your whales, is going to be the best choice you'll ever buy. He is pretty much maxed at VIP 10, I think it is. And that is a VIP 9, actually. He is the best Cav commander you are going to get until you hit Season of Conquest. Because in my opinion, he is going to just last that long. He's that strong, he's so powerful, and relatively cheap to max. He's around 300 US, I think. And that's cheap. In terms of Rise of Kingdoms commanders, that is actually really cheap for a max commander. His double relic, which we'll talk about later on, is amazing. So he's a commander that if you're going to be a Cav main, you almost certainly want. Otherwise, you're definitely stuck running just epic commanders, because the other legendary Cav commanders aren't that good. But I'll talk about them as well later. If you don't get a Minamoto, though, you have two options to run for KVK or pre-KVK1. And personally, I'd run probably a Baibars with a Belisarius, or a Baibars with a Pelagius. Baibars definitely being the strongest epic Cav commander, dealing a 5,000 target AoE, decreasing march speed, also having a lot of march speed himself whenever he departs on buildings, whenever he leaves battle. So this is really, really good. Baibars in his own is just a very powerful commander, and I think he's probably the best epic Cav commander. Then you kind of make a decision. If you like Belisarius, who has he's got a lot of debuffs, that's mainly what he's got, then you go for Belisarius. And if you want a little bit more damage and maybe a few more stats, you'd probably go for the Pelagius, but keep in mind Pelagius is more of a single target damage commander, and so is Belisarius, but Baibars is going to give you the AoE damage that you are going to need on really any march. This also is really what would lead into KVK1 pairs. Your KVK1 pairs, very similar. You'd either run that epic pair that you're running pre-KVK1, hopefully with better equipment, hopefully with obviously max commanders. And if you do have a Minamoto, A, if you're pre-KVK1, or B, if you're KVK1, Minamoto Baibars is amazing. If you do have a Kakao, which I don't recommend getting him because he will come in the Wheel of Fortune, I say you skip him. You can get Kakao to if he had a 5-1-1-1, he may actually be better than Baibars. I'm not too sure on the testing there. But if you've definitely got a Kakao 5-1-5, so you skip the second skill and you've got a few points in the third skill, he's definitely going to be better than a Baibars. And Kakao is a fairly decent commander at KVK1, and he's pretty rubbish after that. So I wouldn't get him, just saying. But if you do have him, putting him with your Minamoto is the current best KVK1 combination, in my opinion. Some few other tips for you KVK1 players in terms of civilization. I think that you got two options. If you don't want to switch civilizations constantly, Germany is really good. It's a bunch of stuff that's more towards account recovery from KVK, but they are a Cav civilization. It is only attack stats, but however, running the Germany civilization means that A, you don't have to constantly switch, and B, you're getting all the buffs like action point recovery, training speed. You are getting, of course, a special unit and some Cav attack. But overall, Germany is going to be one of the better civilizations if you don't really mind getting slightly worse trades, because you won't have to swap civilizations pretty much every single off-season. You can also consider, I think the best field civilization for Cavs is Byzantium, just because you are getting hospital capacity, you're getting Cav health, and the actual unit is, I think, stronger than the German units. I think they give extra health, so the actual troop-based stats is extra health. So Byzantium, in my opinion, is probably the best field for Cav. Best rally for Cav is definitely Arabia, so if you're doing Cav rallies, go for Arabia, that's going to be your best bet. And then Spain is maybe your second best Cav civilization, though I think that Byzantium is definitely the best one, just because you are getting hospital capacity, you're getting health, you're getting all the stats you'd want with Cav commanders. For you whales with mixed troops, like I've said in the other two videos, rocking Ottoman civilization is going to be your best bet, because A, you're getting the probably best archer units, B, you're getting all-round troop march speed and all-round troop active damage, so Ottoman civilization, your best bet if you're running not only Cavs but a mixture. As for equipment this early on, I would probably say you definitely want to try and get the epic Cav weapon as soon as you can. This is going to be pretty much your endgame Cav weapon. In the really early stages of the game, you can also run the Vanguard Hellbird. It's a really, really good weapon. giving you 9% total cav stats. And then if you get the set, the other Vanguard Greaves, that's going to be an absolutely amazing super early game set. It is probably the best gear out there by far. Helmets and stuff, you're just looking at either the Abyssal Visage, or you could continue with the Expedition Warhelm. Those are both two very good options. Gloves, also another thing, if you can get them, Navarre's Control, for anyone who can get a legendary KVK one, are amazing. They are by far and away the best gloves for Cavs, like, in existence. Like, it's not even close. 8% Cav health, they are so good. So also keep that in mind, and I'll come back to them also a little bit later. As for city skins, right now, actually, there is an event that's going to give you a Cav defense city skin. This is the 7k gem event. I highly recommend picking up the Cav defense skin. So right now, if you are playing as a Cav main and you haven't noticed this Cav defense skin right here, Summer of the Passion, pick that up when you do your 7k gem event. That's going to be your best city skin by far and away, and it's going to be obviously not the best because you'd rather Cav defense, but it's going to be the best one available to you right now. So all you new players who are Cav mains, you have a chance to get a city skin. Pretty much if you watch this video on the day it came out, you have around 5 days to grind your way up to get that city skin, and I highly recommend it. Anyways, now that you've reached KVK 2, you get access to Genghis Khan and Saladin. Genghis Khan now being the mightiest governor commander, oddly enough, and Saladin being the Wheel of Fortune commander. And I'm going to give you two routes you could go here. First of all, you could just stick with your KVK 1 march, whether that be a double epic march, it's going to be a bit rough, or having a Minamoto with a Baibars, or even Minamoto with a Cow. Now, those are your best bets. In my opinion, if you want to be a Cav main, you have to max 2 specific commanders, which I'll mention later on. And to do that, you're going to need a lot of gold heads. So you want to be stashing your gold heads, pushing your VIP to at least VIP 10, possibly even VIP 12. And I think that Saladin is kind of going to be a hindrance on that. A, you have to spin the wheel, which costs you gems. B, you kind of have to you have to really get him to at least 5-5. I think it's 5-5-5-1, so first 3 skills maxed. And C, he's good in Season of Conquest and Season 3, but he's not amazing. I don't really get a bad trade against a Saladin nowadays. I think my archers pretty much beat Saladin in almost every situation. There are obviously some whales running Saladins, and if you're a whale man, Saladin's great because he's very tanky, and you're going to be dealing tons of counterattack. But for lower spending players where you're not maxing crystal tech, you're not going to be spending loads of money, Saladin, I just don't think he's worth it anymore. Maybe a year ago I would have said go for Saladin 100%, he's very good. Nowadays, I'd say he's just very outclassed by some of the new Cav commanders. And his relic, yes, it does give him a little bit more effectiveness. It doesn't change too much. Like, overall, his museum buff is slightly underwhelming, to say the least. It's very expensive, and it's only some cav attack and some march speed. Now, if you are still set on getting Saladin, it's not going to be too bad of a choice, like I said. He's still effective in Season of Conquest, he's just not the best commander you can choose. If you do pick a Saladin, I will give you a route to go later on, but the best KVK 2 pairs currently, I think that if you're a free-to-play, it's really difficult. You're going to have to probably run, I'd say at this point, a Baibars with a Pelagius, just because Pelagius has more damage, and you're going to need the damage. If you have a Minamoto, you're going to be pretty fine, in my opinion, for KVK 2. Just run a Minamoto with a Baibars or Minamoto with a Cow. You may have Cow's first skill max by now, and I think it's probably better than Baibars' whole entire kit, but it might not be. It's really up to you in that situation. Minamoto with either Cow or Baibars is going to be your best bet, but do not put any gold heads in Cow. Only the stuff you get from your gold chests. If you do get a Saladin, you just run a Minamoto with a Saladin, or a Saladin YSG for whales who have unlocked Saladin. You can put them together, and that's going to be very good. Now, let's say you want to purchase the daily special offer. Maybe you are a medium spender. You're spending a little bit of money every year. Saladin's probably your best bet, I would say. You'll at least get him up to 5-5-5-1-ish from just purchasing the daily bundle, if not like 5-5-1-1. He's going to be a really, really good commander for KVK 2. He's going to be decent in KVK 3. He obviously won't be amazing. Like, I'm never going to see a Saladin and go, wow, that's like one of the best commanders in the game. At least not anymore. But he's going to be your best value from this daily bundle by far and away. Like, it's pretty much not even close. Saladin is going to be the strongest commander here. Though there are a few other options. You could actually consider getting yourself a Julius Caesar. He's going to give you some value if you're running an infantry march really early Season of Conquest in Season 3. Or you could get a Mehmed, and I'll give you a Mehmed pair later on, because he is also really good in Season 3 and Season of Conquest. I'd say that Mehmed is probably better than Saladin overall, but if you want to really focus on Cavs, you will eventually pick up a Saladin, and it's a good time to do it now when you only have access to Saladin, and not some of the later game more powerful Cav commanders. Now that you've made it to Season 3, you get access to about 10 more commanders, and here's what I would do for most players. If you are the person who saved everything, like I said, you were free to play, you didn't buy Minamoto, ditch all your epic commanders, use all your gold heads and max Alexander Nevsky, and hopefully max Jones' first skill and her last skill. You can obviously put more gold heads in Joan. I think it's worth it. Some people say just max her first skill and last skill. A, that's almost impossible. And B, she's still a very good commander. So maxing Nevsky, so Nevsky has to be your expertise. And getting Joan to as high a level as you can, making sure you're trying to get her last skill after you've already maxed her first skill. Joan Prime is going to be a very good commander. And Nevsky, those pairs are just going to be destroying. If you did max a Minamoto, you're more able to run 2 marches. So you get your Alexander Nevsky and you get your Minamoto and you put them together. Best combo you're going to get besides having a Joan Prime. It's extremely good. There's a ton of videos out there about it because Nevsky and Minamoto are extremely powerful. For your second march, because you're going to have extra gold heads if you did max a Minamoto, and this is one of the good things about being a low spender cav main, if you got Mina, you're able to use a Joan of Arc Prime with a lot of commanders you can pick. I personally think William is the best option because William does provide you with a lot more utility than a commander such as Zhang Yu. And Zhang Yu is the best damage option. So if you really want damage and you really want that extreme punchiness, Zhang Yu is your best option. If you really want the debuffs and you really want the buffs that William brings, William is obviously your best option. I think personally I would run a William, but I'm a bit of a sucker for debuffs and a sucker for buffs for my own marches. Though if you really like the damage Zhang Yu is bringing, he is still an option and I wouldn't even say it's a bad choice. I think it's a still very decent choice. One thing to note is that the newer cav commanders may completely outclass William. So if you are watching this when the new commanders came out, you may just straight up run a Joan Prime with the new commanders. For you players who didn't get Minamoto but you still want to run 2 marches, what you do is you go in the leadership section and you just pick up a Honda or a Mehmed or a Caesar. Honda being the more whale choice, but Mehmed and Caesar still being very good. Caesar is if you've got a Nevsky with a commander such as Zhang Yu or a Nevsky with a Minamoto but you don't have enough gold heads to get any of the other commanders I mentioned besides a Joan Prime. Joan Prime with Caesar is actually really good because Caesar has sustainability. If you're running a Nevsky with a Joan and you want to run a William, once again, Caesar is going to be your best bet because he's got a lot of sustainability and a lot of tankiness. If you've already got a commander who's very tanky or has a lot of punchiness like Zhang Yu because he's got a fast rage cycle, you run Mehmed since Mehmed's AoE and his health buffs and stuff are going to be better in that situation. Though I do think Caesar is the best option for his tanky and punchiness. For you whales, Honda is very good as well. Now, if you did pick up Saladin, which I didn't recommend, but if you did, you run a Nevsky with a Saladin, it's going to be very good. If you still want to run a Nevsky with a Joan and you can afford to do that, maybe you max Minamoto, then you can run the Nevsky with a Joan and then a Saladin with a Minamoto. It's not going to be an amazing march, but it's going to work. You can also consider a Saladin with a William and a Nevsky with a Joan or a Nevsky with a Mina, and that's also going to be very good because Saladin with William is a tried and true known combo and we know it's going to work. If you are considering purchasing daily special offers, so the commander chests for those commanders who are in the daily special offer, the best one's going to be William. William is the best cav commander in the daily special offer by far and away. For low spenders, I think he's worth it. For whales, he's obviously worth it. Even people who spend very occasionally, if you want to get William a few extra gold heads, I'd say it's actually worth buying this bundle every now and again. Even times like Recharge, where you buy like your monthly gem supply and you buy one chest on the daily special offer, I think William is a very good option. If you are a whale though, Attila and Cicada is amazing here since you are doing a lot of counterattack, a lot of attack since you got max crystal tech, and they're going to be really, really good since you are hitting them very hard, you're not taking much damage in return, but for low spenders and free to players, Cicada and Attila are rubbish commanders, I wouldn't be picking them up. If you are also a whale, Shanagupta is really good. For medium spenders, he's also really good if you want to get his debuffs so you're murderable. Once again, keep in mind I am a sucker for debuffs, but I think his debuffs are super good and he's got a lot of buffs he's also bringing you and a lot of damage factors. So Shanagupta definitely is also an amazing option for you whales and people who want to run up to 3 cav marches. As for Crystal Tech, just same as the other troops, you want to focus on whichever troop is your main troop. So Cavalry, the Crystal Tech you need is mounted combat techniques and that's going to be your best bet. But one thing I'd also like to mention is museum relics, just because they are a lot harder to come by today, and here's what I would do for a cav main. I think you get access to in total 1 double relic at the start of Season of Conquest, because you get a special event which allows you to get a bunch of relic coins and exhibit coins. What I would do is, Minamoto, get his relic if you have Minamoto. If you don't have Minamoto, obviously don't get his relic, but if you've got an expertise Minamoto, his relic is ridiculously powerful. You're getting a grand total of 60% of stats on a commander who was already fairly decent. It pretty much blows him out of the water, makes him, in my opinion, the 3rd best cav commander currently. So Minamoto's relic is definitely the best relic that you can pick up. If you do have a Julius Caesar or a Mehmed and you're using them, whichever one you're using, you pick up their relic. I wouldn't say you use both because you can't afford both of their relics. Whichever one I recommended for whichever commander you want is the one that you pick up, and that's going to be your best bet. You could also consider Cao Cao if you are really into your Cow, it's an option. And if you've got a Genghis Khan for you whaling players, he's also an option. His relic is not too bad. Not too amazing, but not too bad. It is performing okay currently. Now for Cav equipment, I would like to mention a few things of importance. First of all, for accessories, I think the best accessory for almost every march is Horn of Fury. A lot of the Cav commanders don't have the skill tree, they have the support tree. And what I've noticed using my Henry, who has a support tree, getting the Horn of Fury to give him a little bit of a kickoff to get to his active skill a little bit quicker allows him to ramp his rage up way quicker. And then after that, the support tree just carries you to your next rage cycle. So having a Horn of Fury is really good for Cav mains, and it's amazing if you're running them on a commander like a support tree. So if you're running a Joan Prime as the primary, or if you're running a William, or any of those commanders who don't really have much rage as a primary, you want to get a Horn of Fury. Otherwise, I'd probably get a Ring of Doom first, or even a Concealed Dagger if you're running like a Zhang Yu, because Zhang Yu's rage is already way too quick. You'd run a Concealed Dagger, you'd be dealing a ton of health debuffs, and it's really good. Mirror's Web, I'd also bring a Light on, because you usually run a Mirror's Web on your Cav march, because you can keep up with the other Cav marchers. So running Mirror's Web is going to allow you to slow down your opponents, catch up with them, and deal even more damage. Not to mention, it's also doing a defense reduction. Other things I would like to mention, for your weapon, like I said before, Heart of the Saint is probably good to just stick with. A lot of people end up getting the Cav weapon, which I actually think isn't really worth it. I think the Heart of the Saint is just better overall, because defense is quite an important stat. And overall, I think you're down around 3% of stats if you don't get the attack. And I think 17% defense is better than 20% attack, personally. Another thing I'd like to put a major light on is Navarre's Control. If you don't have a Navarre's Control right now and you are a Cav main, get it this instant. Just go and try and get as many crystal chests as you can. Don't spend gems on them, but try and get as many crystal chests as you can to get as many Navarre Control blueprints as you possibly can. Because this is the best blueprint for Cavs far and away. It's the best gloves in the game far and away. So you want to be able to get this Navarre's Control as soon as possible to replace your epic Cav piece, which is pretty good. It is 6% of Cav stats, but it's not 8% health. So I think you're much better off getting a Navarre's Control, and I highly recommend it. I'd also like to put another light on the Cavalry boots, which are 7.5% health, and they are also amazing. So try and get the Boots of the Hellish Wasteland from your Egg event and your Dig event. That is going to be your best thing. Egg event being the Holy Knight's Treasure, and Dig event being the Hunt for History event. So those are going to be your main focus. You want a Boots of the Hellish Wasteland, a Navarre's Control, and try and get a Horn of Fury. That's going to be really good for you. As for legs, I'd also like to mention, don't get the Cav set legs. Instead, I'd say you get the legendary leadership legs. I think they are better. Other than that, you just follow the normal set pieces. So for the chest plate, I'd probably just get the set chest plate because it's just really good. I'd maybe even get a Pride of the Khan if you want a helmet, or you just go for the normal set helmet. And that's probably what you do. That's pretty much the best equipment right there. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, I have a goal, and it's to have more subscribers than the amount of people in my school. And the number of people in my school is on screen now, and I want it by next week. So all I need you guys to do is go down there and just subscribe. It's one small thing, and it really does help the channel out, and it's much appreciated. Now, I do want to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.